Welcome to Trimester 3. The first unit of Trimester 3 will be the atmosphere. Learning target 1 for atmosphere is I can compare and contrast the hydrosphere and the atmosphere. Essential vocabulary is hydrosphere and atmosphere. The Earth is surrounded by 4 main layers: the geosphere, the biosphere, the hydrosphere, and the atmosphere. You may ask, what is the difference between the 4 layers? Well, you can find the difference right in the word and its Greek meanings. The geosphere includes all the rocks and minerals on Earth. The biosphere includes all the areas that life exists on Earth. And the hydrosphere includes all the water that surrounds the Earth. And finally, the atmosphere includes all the gases that surround the Earth. Now that we know the 4 main layers that surround the Earth, let's focus on 2 for this learning target: the hydrosphere and the atmosphere. You may ask, what is the hydrosphere and the atmosphere? Without further ado, let's dive in. See what I did there? I said that because we are going to start with the hydrosphere. Hydro is the Greek word meaning water, and all the water on the Earth is in the hydrosphere. This means that every single drop of salt water in the oceans, all the fresh water in lakes and rivers, all the water trapped in glaciers as ice, and water held deep underground are part of the hydrosphere. It has been estimated that there are 1,386 million cubic kilometers of water on Earth. Salt water accounts for 97% of this amount. Fresh water accounts for only 3%. Of this fresh water, 70% is in the form of ice and permanent snow cover in the Arctic, the Antarctic, and mountain glaciers. 29% is in the form of groundwater, and less than 1% of the fresh water on Earth is in the form of lakes, reservoirs, and river systems. There's also water in the air around us that we sometimes see in the form of rain and snow. Those things come from clouds, which are also made up of water. Since rain, snow, and clouds are made from water, they are part of the hydrosphere. Next, we will discuss the atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere is an extremely thin sheet of air and gas extending from the surface of the Earth to the edge of space. The Earth is roughly 8,000 miles in diameter, and the thickness of the atmosphere is about 60 miles. In this picture, taken from a spacecraft orbiting at 200 miles above the surface, we can see the atmosphere as the thin blue band between the surface of the Earth and the blackness of space. If the Earth were the size of a basketball, the thickness of the atmosphere would be about the size of plastic wrap surrounding that basketball. Gravity holds the atmosphere to the Earth's surface. Now that we know the difference between the hydrosphere, which is all the water that surrounds the Earth, and the atmosphere, which is all the gases that surround the Earth, let's talk about water vapor. Now, water vapor is a tricky one because it is a form of water and it is also a form of gas. So which layer does water vapor belong, the hydrosphere or the atmosphere? Well, the answer is both. The gas form of water makes up 0 to 0.4% of the Earth's atmosphere and 0.001% of the hydrosphere. Therefore, the atmosphere above oceans would have the highest amount of water vapor above it, and the deserts would have the least amount of water vapor above it. So let's review. Compare and contrast the hydrosphere and the atmosphere. The hydrosphere is made of water and is mostly made of liquid. The atmosphere is made of air and is mostly made of gases. Both contain water vapor because it is a gas and it is also a form of water. Learning target number 2. I can describe the composition of the atmosphere. Essential vocabulary: particulate, nitrogen, and oxygen. Remember, the atmosphere of Earth is the layer of gases that surround the planet and is kept in place by Earth's gravity. The atmosphere of Earth also protects life on Earth by absorbing heat from the sun. The atmosphere contains a mixture of gases. By percentage, the atmosphere is made up of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% of other gases like carbon dioxide, argon, neon, and helium. Yes, there is more nitrogen in the air than oxygen. This is a common misconception since we breathe oxygen. The reason why goes back to when the Earth was first formed. Now let's talk about the air that makes up the atmosphere in terms of density and pressure. As you increase elevation or go up in the atmosphere, the amount of air molecules in the atmosphere decrease. Why? Because air molecules have mass, so air will sink towards the ground due to gravity. As you can see, the gas molecules closest to the Earth's surface are packed very closely together because air has mass. This means that density of the air increases closer to the ground. Because the density of the air increases, so does the pressure. Remember, this happens because air has mass. Finally, we will discuss some of the other parts that make up the atmosphere. These are called particulates. Now, particulates are stuff in the air. They are very small, and examples include dust, pollen, smoke, and volcanic ash. Nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide are not considered particulates. Particulates do combine with water vapor in the air to form clouds. However, having too many particulates in the air is bad for our health as it can contribute to many lung and heart diseases. Thanks for listening.